Hello there, and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash, and I'm your host on this journey through men's style, self-development, and personal grooming. And today I double up as your smooth-talking bar steward, because it's my goal today to give you some tips on how to hold your booze. Now, of course, booze can be a wonderful friend, but it can also be a ferocious enemy. And many of us have struggled with our relationship with alcohol during the course of our lives. Sometimes it can be quite a useful thing, other times it can be quite a deleterious influence upon your life. And I know my own relationship with alcohol began a long time ago when I started drinking in the satanic public houses in the valleys of South Wales. A distant memory now as I'm in my 50s, but still something which lingers in the mind. And I will openly admit that there have been times in my life where I have drunk too much alcohol, where it has not been beneficial for me, and I have earned some tips along the way that I intend to share with you today. Some hard-earned tips, I will hasten to add, so I hope you pay heed, because I would like to think you can take more out of alcohol than it takes out of you in the long run. So let us talk about my tips to help you get the best out of the booze in your life. Now, my number one tip might sound incredibly obvious, but I think it's worth reiterating, and that is you should have the utmost of respect for alcohol. Because let's not forget at all for a moment that alcohol is a highly dangerous, highly addictive, regulated by the government narcotic substance, which, if misused, can have an extremely negative effect on both your body and your mind. And if we adopt our relationship with alcohol to bear that in mind, you won't go far wrong. Also remember, of course, that as well as damaging your health, alcohol has the ability to damage your reputation. Because we live in an era whereas in everybody's back pocket there is a fabulous camera attached to their telephone. So on those occasions where you go out and you bare your backside whilst dancing on a table in Ibiza, when you've had, far too many cocktails, don't think that moment is just going to be fleeting. Somebody in the room will have taken a video of that footage, and that footage will follow you around. It will haunt you for the remainder of your life. So in those many years in the future, where you're on the cusp of becoming the chief executive officer of a Fortune 500 company, that video of your ass will go around the world, and it could have an incredibly damaging situation in your future prospects. So always remember, we respect alcohol because it's a dangerous, addictive substance, but we also respect what it has the potential to do to our personal reputation as a gentleman, which is equally as damaging, of course. Now, my second tip to help you hold your booze is perhaps a little more practical, and that is know what you're drinking and know your limits, all right? Because all of us, we have a drink of preference, and we know if we drink a set amount of that, it'll have a certain impact upon us. So for me, I enjoy whiskey. I tend to have a whiskey and tonic water, and I also enjoy gin and tonic. So if I have a couple of double gin and tonics, I know the impact that will have upon my body. However, there are situations that you find yourself where you're being offered something new. You might be, for instance, going into a little pub and they have microbrewery there, craft beers or something like that. Now, many of these craft beers can have twice, maybe 3 times the amount of alcohol which is found in an ordinary pint of beer. So if you were to drink your usual limit, so say you would limit yourself to 2 pints or 3 pints of beer, you know that's going to be fine. You can function fine the next day, no problem at all. However, if you have 3 pints of this new craft beer, which tastes no more alcoholic, yet if you drink it, you'll have actually consumed 3 times the amount of alcohol per volume of the intake of drink. So you will find yourself 3 sheets to the wind, and you'll be wondering why the next day you're waking up with a thumping headache and no memory of how you've got home. Also, don't forget that alcohol can mix extremely poorly with certain medications. So in the summertime, if you're, I don't know, a hay fever sufferer and you take antihistamines for your hay fever, mixing that with alcohol, it can end up in a car crash. Also, other pain medications or other medications that you might not even think about when you're taking them, yet later in the day, when you have a few beers or a few glasses of whiskey, they will have a really negative effect on you. So it's an important thing to know, to keep it on top of exactly what you're drinking, and then to bear that in mind as to how that amount of alcohol will affect you ordinarily. Now, my third tip is to beware of the hidden alcohol which lurks in many drinks. And one of the biggest offenders here is the good old cocktail. The cocktail has been the undoing of many of an unwitting tippler, because these rather nice sounding, lovely looking drinks can harbour quite an enormous amount of alcohol. And quite often when you drink a cocktail, it tastes rather benign. It tastes lovely because they're often filled up with sugary and citrusy flavours which mask the alcohol within. So you can have one or two of those, you don't realise you're taking on anything like the amount of alcohol that you are, and before you know it, you've lost a day of your life with no memory of it. Let's take one for an example. One of my favourites, Long Island iced tea. Now this is one which has caught me up more than once. Long Island iced tea sounds rather straightforward, doesn't it? Iced tea, this is a cool, long and refreshing drink which many people choose in hot climates. So you think to yourself, Long Island iced tea sounds fine, I'll have one of those. Comes in a tall glass. However, Long Island iced tea in its traditional form contains, and I'm going to read these out because I can't remember them, there's so many. It will contain vodka, it contains tequila, triple sec, gin and rum. But it also contains normally some syrup and is topped up with some other sort of mixer, tonic water or whatever. So when you look at it, it doesn't give you any indication at all of the dangers which lurk within that drink. Now I've been there, all right? I remember myself and my wife waiting to check into a hotel a couple of years ago in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, and our hotel room wasn't ready. So we went to the bar, looked at the menu, and sure enough, Long Island iced tea was on the menu. Sounds nice tall drink. We'll order one of those. Wonderful drink. Ordered another one. Can't remember anything else about the rest of the day. All a bit of a blur. Make sure you don't make the mistake that I did. Know what you're drinking and know what's in it, and avoid the hidden alcohol. Find out what's in that drink that's been placed in front of you before you put it into your body. Now my tip number 4 is to manage your intake speed of your drinks, all right? Because this can often be a challenge if you're, such as myself these days, just a mere social drinker. Because you might go out, we're coming up to the holiday season, you might go up and you'll think, I'll join my friends for that office drink which they're having. And quite a few of these guys, perhaps they're far more aggressive drinkers than you are. So you'll find yourself perhaps in a round with these guys. And whereas you might be happy only having 1 pint of beer or a couple of glasses of spirits, they'll be drinking a lot faster because they do so every Saturday. Maybe they go to watch sports, so they drink a lot more. And very quickly, you'll find yourself being drawn along with the whole drinking process. And they'll say, oh, come on, speed up, get another drink down your neck, finish that off. And you'll be drinking much faster than you ordinarily will. Now, it can be a challenge to say to somebody, look, guys, listen, I'm not a very big drinker. You go ahead, have an extra drink. I'm going to step out of this round and I'll join you in the next round. This is an issue because, you'll get taunted. They will say, what's the matter, you big wuss? Come on, drink up. Or there'll be the aspersions, of course, that you're trying to get out of buying a round of drinks, particularly if you've entered into a round where you're all taking turns to buy the next round of drinks. So my advice to the social drinker who wants to avoid being dragged into one of these, drinking circles is make it clear at the beginning, look, guys, I don't intend to drink too much tonight. It's not my habit to drink. I'm going to have a few beers. I'll either just come in the round with you and I'll just step out when I don't feel like I want to drink anymore, or perhaps, it's best if you drink in your own little round and I'll drink separately because I only intend to have a couple of drinks. It might be the beginning of some taunting, but at the end of the day, you're looking after your interests, you want to stay fit and well, and perhaps you've got something on tomorrow that you need to be fully compos mentis for, so don't feel bad about not being drawn into some excessive drinking that isn't something that you want to do. And this is a circular thing here, because if you're one of the other guys, right, watching this now, who's a person who drinks regularly, and you're going out with a friend or associate who does not, do not be the person who cajoles them into drinking faster than they wish to do so. Let's have none of this, come on then, get it down your neck, let's get the next beer in. It's uncomfortable for those other people, and if you know it is, and you're forcing them to drink quicker, you are no gentleman. You are the problem, not the solution. So please, take it easy. Okay, chaps, my tip number 5 is one which I think we can all associate with. And that is, you need to stand your ground when it comes to drinking alcohol with other people. Because human beings, all right, by our very nature, we don't like doing things on our own, particularly drinking. So say, for instance, let me give you a scenario. You've got a big day planned tomorrow, an important day. Maybe you've got an interview for a promotion at work, or you're about to give a big presentation to potential clients, and you need to be on your A game, right? You need to perform straight away in the morning. You need to be sharp, you need to be clear-headed. You go out the night before, perhaps you're at a conference or something. You meet one of your associates in the bar, and they turn around to you and say, let's have a drink, come on, let's have a drink. Now, human beings, as I say, we don't like drinking alone. It's an inherent thing. You feel a little guilty if you're in a group of people and you're the only one drinking alcohol. And often the way people get around that sensation of doing something wrong is to get their companions to drink along with them. It makes them feel less conscious of consuming alcohol on their own. So they will say, come on, have a drink. Or that classic saying, come on, let's just have one. Because you and I all know, all right, if you've been a drinker for any amount of time, there is no such thing as just having one drink. Because if you're a little tense, you've got this big day tomorrow, and you think, okay, I will have a drink, because alcohol, let's be honest, it's a relaxant. It'll make you feel a little better. So you'll have that one drink, and you will start to feel a little more relaxed, a little less tense. And you think, well, do you know what? If I've had one drink, I'll have another one, because if I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed now, I will feel even more relaxed after that second drink. And that second will turn into 3. The next morning you will wake up and you will have a thumping headache. You will feel nauseous. You might have eaten some rubbish last night after you've had a few drinks, because your ability to say no decreases the more you drink, obviously. So you might have a bad tummy. You might wake up feeling absolutely dreadful, and your chances of performing at the level you were hoping to do so have already taken a nosedive. And you made that decision last night when you said yes to that just one more drink. So my advice to you is this, right? If you're going out in the evening and you don't intend to have a drink, you stand your ground, right? It doesn't matter what somebody says to you. Just join me for one drink. Go on. Just the one drink. I'll buy it. Don't worry. Just the one drink. That's all you need to have. It's not going to happen, gents. It's not going to be just one more drink. So please stand your ground. You know the right decision to make. Now, I can give you some tips which will help you stand your ground, because, oftentimes it can be a contentious thing to say no to a friend. I don't want to drink. And they'll call you a killjoy, and they'll call you this, that, and the other to try and cajole you into having that drink. In my experience, the best way around that is to make up some form of little excuse. Shall we call it a white lie? But it works equally. So something along the lines of, just tell them, listen, I'm on some form of medication at the moment. I've got an ingrowing toenail and I'm taking antibiotics for the infection. Please, I can't drink at all. I'll just have a Coke or a soft drink. That should be enough for any decent-minded person to back off and not force you into a drink. One thing, and it's a little bit cheeky, but it's something I often do because I like to elicit a response from people, to look at their faces when I say this, but it only works with people you don't know, obviously. Say you've met somebody for the first time and they're trying to get you to have a drink. I often lean across and conspiratorially whisper to them, listen, the thing is, and I don't want people to know this, but I'm actually a recovering alcoholic. I've had a major problem with drink throughout my life, and I'd be really grateful if you don't ask me to have a drink with you, because you know how this goes. I've been sober for a while. If I have the one drink, I don't want my life to start spiraling down that route again. Now, often when I've said that to somebody, their face goes ashen white, their jaw drops, and they feel incredibly guilty. But one thing is for sure, they never ask me to have a drink with them again. So be careful who you say that to, of course. You don't want to be saying it to somebody who's going to have a significant influence on your life, if they're a future boss or something like that. But it's a cheeky little alternative way of getting people out of asking you to have a drink with them. Okay, now my final tip number 6 on how to hold your booze is this. Focus on tomorrow, right? Remember, the consequences of your actions tonight will have an immense impact upon tomorrow, regardless of what it is. We've all been there. You might be getting married tomorrow, and the guys on the stag night say to you, chuck that beer down, get that drink down your neck. You know what's going to happen if you do that. It can be incredibly difficult to take the high ground and say no, particularly if, like myself, you really enjoy a drink, right? I enjoy drinking. It's one of my rare vices, but I only drink these days in extreme moderation. Now, I said the quote earlier in the video, but Winston Churchill famously, when asked about his alcohol intake, said, "I have taken more out of alcohol than alcohol has taken out of me." And that is your goal as a gentleman drinker, all right? If you look back across your history of consuming alcohol, and when you think about it, you remember the hangovers, the sickness, and the embarrassment of your drunken actions more than your enjoyment of the alcohol, that's where you have to draw the line, right? Make some sort of alteration, a rebalancing in your relationship with alcohol, and you'll be in a far better place going forward. Anyway, gents, I hope you've enjoyed this video today on my tips and advice on holding booze in your life. As we're coming up to the holiday season, I thought it was a great opportunity to perhaps give some practical advice to you that you can put into use right away. If you have enjoyed the video, of course, I'd be delighted if you gave us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already a member of our small community here at the Chap's Guide. And if you'd like to practically assist the channel, you can buy me a coffee. I will leave a link to the Chap's Guide Buy Me a Coffee page in the show notes below, and I would be delighted to share a coffee with you if you would be so kind as to donate one to us. So, you leave me now to enjoy my outdoor bar here on a wonderful Sunday afternoon. It's been a pleasure being your smooth talking bar steward today. I hope to see you again very soon, and until then, I will leave you to your own devices and to enjoy your alcohol at your leisure.